So for this question, you're looking at the price of gas and you're told that the gas is 150 per litre. So this is where this part shows in the formula. So it's 150 per litre, where X is the number of litres. And if they buy a minimum of 10, so X has got to be more than 10, then we get this €5 or $5 discount applied. So this is the function LX, which is modelling the cost per litre. So for the first one, we're finding the cost of buying 40 litres at the gas station. So all we're doing here is finding what happens when I substitute in 40. So L of 40, and that gives me 150 of 40. So I'm just substituting in 40 for my value X. So all I've done is change the X to 40. And if I plug that through the calculator, then I find I get 55. So therefore, it costs $55 to fill up 40 litres. And then the second part, now this is asking for the inverse function. This is the notation we use for the inverse. And for an inverse function, we know that we need to swap the x and y, or the domain and range, and then rearrange to get it back into y equals. So I can think of my function as y equals 150x minus 5. So when I rearrange and swap my values, and now I'm trying to make y the subject again, so I'm going to add on 5 to both sides, and now I'm going to divide by 150. So my inverse function is x plus 5 divided by 1.50 or 1.5, and that gives me my inverse. So I'm just going to label this properly. So the inverse function is x plus 5 over 150, and I need to label that correctly. This part here is just working out. It's not the correct notation, so I need to make sure that I give this part. And then I'm interested in finding what happens when x is 70, so I'm going to substitute in 70. So I'm just swapping my value of x for 70. So it's 75 divided by 1.50. And again, when I use the calculator to work that out, I find the value of 50. So that means $70. Is it dollars? Yes, $70. I've put in 50 litres of fuel. And then for the last part, the price of the gas is $1.30 and a customer buys a minimum of 10. Find the results from the two different methods. So for this one, I'm using a... So for the last question here, we have a new function. So this time the gas station is selling it for $1.30 per litre. And again, you must buy at least 10 litres of gas. And we need to decide at which point will they be the same. So in my new situation, let's call this Erica's price of the gas. So this is 1.30 per litre. So much simpler function, just 1.30 per litre. So much simpler function, just 1.30 per litre. And what I can do here, I want to know when are the two equal. So I have the two different functions. And the easiest way to solve this is to think of it in terms of a graph. So I have my axis, and I have these two straight lines, and I want to find out where do they intersect or where do they cross. So for this, I'm going to go to my GDC, and I'm going to click the y equals to type in my first function. So if you have something in there, just make sure you clear it first. So the first one is 1.30 of x. So 1.30 of, and then the x is this button here. And my second function is 150, and you could write these in either order, of x minus 5. And again, I've just used this button for x. And just pressing enter and then going to the graphing software. And you can see here there's a function, there's a point up here where they're together. So I just need to either zoom out, so I can use the zoom function. Okay, and it's just here, or looking at this, I can see that this is about 22, so I want to go a bit further, and it's 7.5, so I want to go a bit higher up. I could change it on the window settings just to make it a little bit easier to see. So -10. Now when you're doing the minus, make sure you use this button here for the negative. I probably only need to go as high as 50. And then the Y value, again, we don't need any negatives there really. So let's keep it small and let's go to 50. Let's see how that looks. And I can see my intersection. So to find what that value is, I can do second function trace, which is the calculations, and I'm looking for the intersection. So I'm clicking once to the left, and then I'm going to the right of it, hitting enter, and then I find the middle value. So they're both equal at 25. So we know that when we put in 25 litres of fuel, they are both equal, and the cost will be $32.50. So $32.50.